This show is sponsored by the official Recall Committee, California Patriot Coalition. Recall Governor Newsom 2020, number 1424018. Committee major funding from others include Rescue California, Recall Governor Newsom, Prop 39 LLC, DGB Ranch. This is your five-star spot for a smorgasbord of information from RecallGavin2020.com. In a tasty, non-caloric, gluten-free bite. It's Friday night at the French Laundry with Executive Chef Oren Heatley and Maitre d' Mike Netter.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Friday Nights at the French Laundry, our virtual restaurant where the cuisine's always about California politics. And I'm so delighted to keep announcing that the main entree is the recall of Governor Gavin Newsom. My friends, it's been a special and wonderful week, and we've got quite the show planned for you. Now, full disclosure, Oren Heatley has the night off, but have no fear. Tonight, we brought in a fry cook. Don Dix.
A fry cook?
You're now a fry cook, Don.
I'm cooking fries?
Well, hopefully.
Wait, when you said you were inviting me to the French Laundry, I brought my clothes with me tonight. I figured that I was going to be finally able to do a wash. This is about food?
Well, let's be clear here. For those of you out there.
Don Dix fries.
Out there, if you're watching this, and remember, you can watch this on Facebook. We blend cuisines, as I like to say. If you take a look at Don, I really think one of the reasons Oren's missing the show tonight is, Don, you're kind of dressed like an FBI agent.
No, I am. And I accidentally almost logged onto the Wi-Fi tonight. It said FBI van on Culver. And so you're not too far from the truth. They're right outside.
Yeah, but very suspicious.
Maybe I am.
Followed around by a van, and the driver does kind of look like Gavin, but it's probably just an
Excuse
illusion.
me. Copy that? Do you copy? Okay, good. They're logged on. They're listening. Great to be with you. Thank you so much for
It
the
is great to
invitation.
be with me, isn't it, Don?
It always is.
I know that. And by the way, everybody out there, before I introduce our sous chef, we've got a special bend on that tonight. Remember, we want you to call in. And our theme tonight, here's what we want you to call in and tell us. Events. Tonight's show is about events because throughout the Southland, Northern California, everywhere we go, it's about the things that are happening in the next 69 days. 69 days, the clock is ticking till September 14th. And we want you to call in and talk about events. We're going to talk about what is happening all throughout California as we move to remove this tyrant. But I would be remiss if I didn't introduce our sous chef, Eric Early, who is he's a lawyer, but it's kind of a weird position for you because you're normally the suer, but I don't know the legal term for it. But today you were kind of the suee because if you haven't out there, Gavin Newsom is suing himself.
Not quite there, Mike. It's close, but we'll be looking forward to talking about that today. Today was kind of a fun day in that regard.
Yeah, and for those of you that are not quite familiar, we're going to get into that later in the show. But it's really a fascinating time in California history. And, Don, I've said this before, that a couple of years from now, there's people writing books, this whole culture around the show.
Sure.
I mean, the whole recall movement. But really what's going to happen in a couple of years, comedic writers are going to sit down and they're going to be flipping through this. And they're going to read about Newsom. They're going to read about the recall movement. And they go, reality is better than fiction. We can't write about this.
This is way, way better than anything that Hollywood could actually script. What's unfolding right now, it completely usurps the creative minds of Hollywood. Reality is way better than the fiction that they can come up with.
So true. What disruptors like this gentleman on my left here, gentleman, I called you gentleman, Mike.
Be careful of that.
And the head chef who's got the night off, Oren and Dan and Robin. I mean, you guys are the ultimate disruptors, and everything that's going on in California right now politically can be traced right back to this gentleman right here.
Absolutely.
Gentlemen, I called you twice, and Oren and Dan and Robin and thousands of volunteers.
I'm so glad you said that because, yes, the volunteers, big deal there. Yep.
It all gets traced back to these guys.
Yes.
And this is the talk of the day. And, you know, now the dialogue is all it's being run by so many of these professional political types who all laughed at these guys when they started this thing. Now suddenly they know better than everybody.
Oh,
so
you mean the carpetbaggers?
There's a lot of them out there.
Maybe you can't say it.
Well, I normally am not careful what I'm saying. I'm not going to be tonight. But Don, I don't know if you want to tell everybody. I know they know you're a radio host. Yes, sorry, on another station from time to time.
Don't say the letters.
Nice
I
digs here, by the
say
way.
the letters.
Beautiful digs.
But oddly enough, it has a K in it, but most of them do.
Yeah.
So I won't be doing too much.
Isn't K for west of the Mississippi and W is for east?
So.
Is that the way it works?
I'm
so,
getting
yeah.
head engineer
I
saying
think
that.
so.
Thank you for that trivia fact, but it is actually true. Yes, even I knew that. But I'm kind of confused.
Yes.
Speaking of which, of things that don't make sense.
Okay.
Why did the East get W for radio and the West get K? And he doesn't know the answer to that one.
K. Yeah, it's because we're close to the KGB in Russia. That's how they came up with the K. They designated anything west of the Mississippi is going to be Soviet.
That
And
would
that's
make
pretty
sense.
much the way it's played out.
Well, then Gavin really must have upset the Soviets, which, by the way, I was interviewed tonight by Russian TV. God bless them. That would explain why they're interested in it, because Gavin has been doing business with the Chinese and apparently never got that K memo.
That would explain why there's an FBI van parked outside.
It would. Well, now that we're through with the acronyms, Don, tell us a little bit more about some of the amazing things you do.
Well,
You've got 10 seconds. No,
thank you very much. That's about all I need, really. We were talking earlier before the show about how amazing it is that a couple of people that have never been involved in politics are all of a sudden involved and helping to craft the change that can happen in California. 10 years ago, wasn't in broadcasting, wasn't in journalism, didn't know politics except for voting every 2 years. And so today, very blessed to be a co-host with Jennifer Horn on KTIE AM 590. The Answer out in the Inland Empire. We have a show from 6 to 7.
We love Jen.
Yeah, she's great.
We love Jen.
And so do all of her radio husbands, by the way. So there you go. And then I'm now the chair of the Riverside Republican Party, the Riverside County Republican Party, which is a complete mind bender to me that I'm there. But it's we're doing some crazy stuff. We'll get into that. But the bottom line is we are rebuilding the grassroots all over this state. There are a lot of people like me that are now digging in and building the foundation of a permanent political infrastructure.
I love that.
All across the state.
It's the grassroots of the Republican Party that are going to take back this state.
Amen.
They've been unfortunately taken for granted by a lot of the others in the party for a long time. But the grassroots are the real people of this party who care about the issues, who will fight for the issues, and who tell you the truth to your face, and not something else behind your back.
And they're hungry to get in the
and they're
fight
patriots.
right now.
They're
are
the
ready.
patriots.
Yep.
I love speaking of patriots. As when we were up in Shasta 3 weeks ago, Mike, first thing I said, we had a great room filled with people up there in Mount Shasta. And it's what I said. I love speaking of patriots, which is one of the reasons I like being on this show.
And you know what occurred to me tonight, which is relatively amazing, is when Orrin and I started doing this many months ago, or it seemed that way, we had so many people coming us in this sphere going, and I've said this many a time, oh, listen to me. I've been doing this for 45 years. And I'm like, all right. And we started going, well, how's it working out for you? Well, the last 20, we haven't won anything, but we're feeling optimistic. And you'd go, all right, now, let me get to my point before y'all start talking. I'm getting the two-figured single here, right? Is that now, to me, the badge of honor in politics in California, Don, you are literally, Eric, I want you to correct me if I'm wrong.
Whatever you want,
are
bro.
literally the veteran in the room with barely 10 years in politics. Eric, you're what, 4 years?
About 5 years.
5
in,
years.
Yeah, something like
and
that.
I'm a year and a half. So to me, for all the volunteers out there, the badge of honor is the fact that we are taking our state back.
Yep.
That people like Sue, who I've got in here tonight from Hesperia, look, she just started doing this, 4 months ago, right? 1 year ago. Californians are waking up because there comes a time when the people have had it. And it's activated the people. It's activated people like Eric with a successful law practice, Don with whatever the heck you did before.
I was retired.
Yeah, there you go. Retired. But, and you know, I was a business person. Literally everybody out there. Now, I also want to tell you that every event we're talking about tonight, we're going to get to that, requires funding. This radio show is paid for by the people. We call Gavin2020.com. We pay to be on the air. We pay to be the voice of the people. Remember to step up, contribute if you can. Now, if you have children in the room, I ask you that you cover their ears. I ask you back against the wall because we're headed to break. Are you ready? It's Friday nights at the French Laundry, all the way from the international border up to Oregon, throughout California. We'll be back.
Picture this, it was not that vacant, like 100 peeps or more. How could I forget that I had Bandolindo gathering?
All right, so Tim Holiday and we have Ellen Watola on for our little commercial intermission breaks. So Ellen's here to talk to us about events and other things that we can do to keep the recall moving forward. Ellen.
Yeah, hi audience. Wasn't that a great intro? It was so nice to see our cast, Eric and Don and Mike. Yeah, so talking about events, we have events coming up in the Valley. I know that volunteers are starting to organize now and look at having, well, events back out in front of the Targets and the Walmarts that we collected signatures at. And we have larger events that are fundraisers coming up. So
a number of Overpass Rally events going on throughout the state. We have quite a few over in Santa Clara County that I know of. Trying to think if there's anything. Sacramento had one earlier today. Actually, I think they just finished up with theirs.
So I know there are events going on in Kern, Tulare, Fresno at the end of this month in July. I think Mike Huckabee is coming out to California to meet volunteers. And I do know that a lot of volunteers, because right now it's 110 where I live right now outside, and a lot of volunteers are using their telephones to make I-360 calls. Well, not right now because they're listening to the radio show, but we're definitely getting busy making phone calls, getting voters engaged. And I think we're going to learn a lot more about that when Don shares about his precinct program.
Yes.
You've only had an appetizer.
Oh, and we're back on.
Your Friday night at the French Laundry with Executive Chef Oren Heatley and Maitre D' Mike Natter.
Well, welcome back, political fans, to our virtual restaurant where I'd like to say we're chewing up the California political scene as we go. And Gavin, you know, look, let's be honest here. Gavin Newsom did not see this coming, and his people did not see this coming. In fact, Gavin cared so little about the process. And Eric, I'm going to say this on the air, which may get me into trouble, but I don't think it
wouldn't
will.
be the first time you said something like that.
And probably won't be the last tonight. Everybody knows that Gavin cared so little. And I discovered this during the hearing today, that he forgot to turn in a form. That when he responded to the petition that Oren and I, and you got to remember, it's not Gavin sitting there. Don't feel bad for Gavin. He's not sitting there going, oh, I got to remember to do this. I got to get the laundry done. It doesn't work that way. Gavin has a crew of people that he hires, that he manages, kind of Eric, like the people he manages to hire to manage the EDD, for example, that don't seem to have their bit together. He didn't care enough to even have it reviewed.
Well, we can, do you want to talk about what went on today, Mike? Are you ready for that part of the show?
I was ready for that part. It's 5 a.m. this morning. I'm bursting to talk about it.
Okay.
Because Eric's going to be polite here, but from my point of view, because I'm not a lawyer, Gavin is suing himself. Now, it's not exactly the way it works, but explain that.
Well, let me go through the whole details of what happened here, because folks are getting the news out there in bits and pieces, but I don't think they're getting the full story. So, you know, what happened was you guys became the official, proponents of the recall back in about, towards the beginning of 2020 sometime. And that triggered a date by which Newsom had to file an answer with the Secretary of State's office, an answer to the recall petition. And this was all based on deadlines and such in a law that Gavin Newsom himself had signed. And so what he did was he filed his answer, but what he failed to include in the answer and what his law required was that he had to say at that time whether or not he wanted his party affiliation, Democrat, to be listed near his name on the eventual recall ballot. The statute he signed was very clear that he had to do it by then. He did not do that. And about 3 weeks or so ago, so we're talking about 16 months after it was due, it apparently dawned on Newsom, or whoever his handlers are, that he had not requested his party affiliation to be next to his name on the recall ballot. So he goes to Shirley Weber's office, Shirley Weber being the Secretary of State who Gavin Newsom appointed. And basically, they try, without making it public, to see if Shirley Weber, the new Secretary of State, would agree to just put his party affiliation on ballot. And to her credit, she said, well, the statute here says, no, that was due 16 months ago. So to cover her butt, she basically said, go to court. And so they figured they would go into court and they would just take care of this and get a judge to rubber stamp it. Nobody be minding the store. So to go to court, Gavin Newsom had to sue Shirley Weber. And so we got wind of that only about a week ago. Gavin Newsom sued Shirley Weber to overcome this failure of his to timely ask to have his Democrat, party affiliation next to his name on the ballot. And so what did we do? Mike? We spent this past weekend drafting papers, and we filed on Monday morning, first thing, or Tuesday morning. The court was closed this past Monday morning because it's July 4th. We, the recall, California Patriot Coalition, recall Gavin Newsom, as well as Orrin, and as well as you guys became the proposed interveners. I'm the attorney. I drafted the paperwork. We filed it with the court up in Sacramento, and we asked to intervene in the action so that somebody could really oppose what Newsom was asking for. Because otherwise, we had a hunch that Shirley Weber's office was just going to rubber stamp it, right? Not really oppose it like, you get in a lawsuit. And so we intervened, and we find out 2 hours later that Caitlyn Jenner's team, they decided to intervene too, which was great because the more the merrier, right?
Absolutely.
We're not supporting anybody or anything. It's just that her team found out what we did, and they figured they'd go in and fight it too. And that led to a flurry of filings this week and the hearing this morning, which I'd be happy to talk about whenever you want.
Yeah, and we'll do that in a second. I want to state that, look, I've got a lot of respect for attorneys now that I'm, I guess, on the prosecution side, so to speak. But it's very interesting. Eric just explained something relatively succinctly for about 4 minutes. Makes sense. You should see the briefs we looked at this weekend, because Eric, I got to tell you, I wish that law was as simple as you, because this to me is a relatively simple case. So Don, I don't want to get your opinion on it here. As a member,
because I play an attorney on talk radio,
well,
so
you do,
I'm good.
Absolutely,
so I'm good.
That's why I brought a real one along with me.
I know a lot of real attorneys who play attorney, basically.
And
They're
we saw one of them today.
So I got a shot
here.
is what you're saying.
Don, with that voice and that look, you look and sound like you're right out of Central Casting.
Counselor, we
Look
need
at
to talk afterwards.
Again, for everybody out there, officially for the record, I have watched 32 episodes of Perry Mason, but let's get that.
Mike always goes back to Perry Mason
Well,
when he
I'm
wants to
going
talk
back-
to me about a legal matter.
Okay. But this is what's really interesting is so over the weekend, Eric and his firm, right, so we said, look, this seems relatively simple. From my point of view, from the public's point of view, I like to boil things down. Gavin forgot to tell us that he's a Democrat. Gavin, there's two things to me that are important here. Gavin signed a law in 2020, I believe, correct, Eric?
It signed it a few months before. It became effective January 2020.
About recalls, by the way, not just in general, because before that, you weren't supposed to declare your party. But Gavin goes, I'm going to sign this. They told me to sign it. What is it? Don't worry about it, Gavin. That You have to do this paperwork so you can declare your party. But wait, there's more. The same day a week ago Monday that Gavin apparently, in my opinion, Gavin is the governor of the state still for at least 69 more days. Shirley Weber's his appointed secretary. So to me, they're suing themselves. I know technically that's not right. But Gavin also decided to speed up the election. Now, this is the part, I'm sorry, I just find really bizarre where the comedy writer is going to be going, because he knew that the legislature was speeding up the election. Isn't that true, Don?
He did know. He was helping to organize that whole transformation of the recall process, which, by the way, was transformed years ago when they were trying to recall a senator down in Orange County, and they elongated the process to try to disrupt that.
Right.
And now they want to shorten it in an effort to make sure that he's not in this crosshair, this danger zone called November, where schools return and parents begin to see the damage that's been done.
And it's also called, with every passing day, it gives Gavin Newsom another moment to completely botch something or do some tyrannical exercise or show his true colors. So, they want this election to happen as soon as possible. What they did was, there is the state legislature normally has to go through this whole sort of financial review of the recall and what it's going to cost and approve certain numbers. And they basically cut out that entire process and chopped a month off the scheduling process.
They did indeed. And the other things people are going to find out this fall, they're going to find out all those people that are going to get evicted because the eviction moratorium is going to end. They're going to find out all those people whose benefits are going to end. There is going to be a trifecta, probably a quadfecta, maybe even a octafecta of stuff that people are going to see. I mean, we got fire season to go through. He's already today talked about, hey, you got to cut back your water. I'm from Baltimore, so usually it's water, but today it's water. So he's gonna have the issues are just going to start stacking up on his back. So that was why they wanted to move this as early as possible to move him out of that danger zone where all of these things are just going to come to light.
Well, also what's really interesting, and folks, we're going to spend a lot more time in this event show about this event which happened today, but I want everybody to think about something here. I always say that they really wanted to move it, which is really, I think, reality in the comedic nutshell, if you will, because Gavin is either going to do something stupid or reveal something stupid he's done. But let's also not forget something else, that they wanted to move up the election because there's still these legislature footballs about the state budget, and they won't be resolved come September 14th. Okay, the riders, as they call them, which is exactly how SB 152, which was the moment Gavin said, "Oh, great, I got it sped up, just what you wanted." And they go, "Gavin, we forgot to file the form." We'll get to that in a second, which actually is the most amazing thing in the hearing today. But what everybody out there, I want this to really, really sink in. Think about it. The state magically opened. COVID magically left the state when the recall got on the ballot.
It's true.
Okay. Schools magically were okay. Bus drivers could start driving again magically when the recall got on the ballot. Gavin magically found $76 billion, not counting, of course, the $24 billion LED.
31.
No,
31 billion.
Was a fraud. We still actually already owe the federal government $24 billion on top of that. Story for another day, as I like to say. Here's what I want to tell everybody out there. Be very, very wary of September 14th. And I'll tell you why. Because anybody out there in that undecided, if you're in one of two categories, you're thinking of voting to retain Gavin or not thinking to vote yes, think really what's going to happen if we don't take Gavin out on September 15th. I got to tell you what I think is going to happen. Magically, much of that surplus is going to vaporize. Magically, the Delta variant may just make a return. Magically, the unions will become more powerful. Let me tell you something. If you do not want the tyranny to continue in California, stand with us like these volunteers have collected 2.1 million signatures, right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Eric, wouldn't you agree with that?
Heck yeah.
It would be a crime, the political crime of the century. This is what we really need to drive home to everybody. The political crime of the century is if there is not a majority of people voting yes on question 1. If that fails, it sends a signal across the United States that progressivism is okay, that what Gavin Newsom is okay. It gives them a permission slip to double down on everything that they've done over the last year and a half.
And I got to tell you something for you gentlemen in this room and everybody out there listening, whether you're watching on our Zoom podcast or here, thank you, United States, contribute if you can. But I, as a Californian, stand with Californians, and I don't care about your political persuasion. I don't care what church you go to. I don't care what your diversity is. What I do care about is this state is going to blank in a handbasket. And as we started the show, we Californians have to take this back. We need a new governor now. We need an attorney general soon. We need some alternatives in government to one party rule, because guess what, LA, it isn't working out for you. And we could talk about India is probably very upset today because we're sending them Garcetti. Well, at least we're exporting something. It looks like our bad politicians. Look, we'll be back to talk about that fairly soon. Right now, we're going to roll to break. It is Hold the Fort, hold your ears. Friday nights, the French Laundry, all over California, streaming, Zoom, everywhere. 1-800-222-5222. For those of you who didn't hear it the first time, 1-800-222-5222. Recall Gavin. 2020.com.
Can't be trusted to be indoor eaters. They are more contagious after all. They're mouth breathers.
And wow, Mike said that very fast. So for those that did not catch it, is 1-800-222-5222.
Good job.
Wow, that was a quick little segment there. Very good one though.
It packed a punch. Had a lot of good information in there.
But one thing that packs a big punch is the rolling blackouts that are starting to occur again. Here comes a rolling blackout season. And I've had the opportunity to live in a handful of different states, and I've never seen anything like what we have here in California with all the rolling blackouts in other states.
And our governor just declared 9 more counties in a drought. So as the days get longer and the heat is unmanageable for a lot of people, now we have the fire problem with not having enough workers to help with forest fires. And now we have the drought coming along, and they're telling us to voluntarily use 15% less water. I noticed it wasn't a mandate. I noticed he didn't mandate that.
Well, and as we
I wonder it had something to do with the recall.
Perhaps, because as we've noticed, as things are happening with the recall, Gavin magically appears as he's a superhero when the issues needed to be taken care of, a couple of years ago, if not even before that. But instead of improving the state, he's damaged the state greatly, and then he comes in saying, "Look at me now, I'm a superhero." To try to protect himself because he's being recalled.
Well, I feel better now that he came to my Fresno region to pick up trash along the 41. I don't think he addressed the homelessness problem that was probably, contributing to all the trash blowing across the freeway. But at least he put on a vest and picked up some trash. At least he's getting some sympathy out there, but not from us, the volunteers.
It's a wonderful photo op because we know he has not been doing that the last couple of years.
No. And all of a sudden, just in the past 24 hours, there's a big push to have this big cleanup of the state. And you know what? A little too late. Clean up the state, but he's done.
Yeah. But another thing too is, let's see, with the release of all the prisoners as Gavin's done, the homeless population has increased. There's not all of these prisoners have a place to go, which is very unfortunate.
But he's also released the prisoners that were helping with the fire camps, and the fire camps have been closed. So it's a double whammy, because now not only are they homeless, but now we don't have people who are serving time helping either. So it's crumbling. California is just on its last thread, and we need good leadership.
Yeah. And we're going to have to bring in fire crews from other areas outside of California in order to fight some of these fires and treat the forest. And that's going to cost the taxpayers a lot more money.
Oh, well, I think that's the whole union's point. The unions want to make money, and they don't want to compete with cheap labor. So there's a lot of union issues going on here, and we need to address that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely need to address a lot of the lobbyists and unions here in California. That's definitely has been.
That's a big issue. All right, off to the next segment. This is going to be good.
Yeah. Well, we're almost there. But
Yeah,
I'd like
well,
to give a shout out to Sue in Madera because she's been a great help getting things shared around. So thank you, Sue. We appreciate
good job,
it.
Sue. Yeah, in the meantime, something I want to bring up is I think it's really important we educate people who are getting ready to vote. Just make sure people know that they signed the petition. That wasn't the ballot. They need to know that they need to vote.
Yes.
And all right, here we go.
It's Friday night at the French Laundry. On the menu tonight, a better California with executive chef Orrin Heatley and maitre d' Mike Netter.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to our show about virtual cuisine, about California politics. A lot to cover tonight. Remember, we're focusing on events that are taking place in the next 69 days. But I want to go back to something, the event of today, if you will. And Eric, I want you to talk more about what happened in the court hearing today as much as you can. But I'm going to tell you one thing that amazed me, that absolutely floored me. And I got to tell you, if you ever need an attorney, don't call me, but call Eric Early, because this guy, this is my humble opinion, and I'm one of the plaintiffs. I can say this. I thought he's a professional term. Did a fine job today compared to the other barristers. But here's what really amazed me that I did not know. What I had thought that when Gavin had turned this in, somebody forgot to type a word, or check a box. I think the part of the process that really floored me is they forgot the entire form. It's like they didn't just accidentally miss checking something. Am I correct, Eric? They just forgot the whole form?
Well, no, he submitted a form, but he didn't add on the information that he was required to add on, which is he got to elect whether or not he wanted the word Democrat next to his name on the ballot. And he totally failed to do that. And by virtue of the very law that he signed, because he failed to do that, he is not allowed to have his party affiliation next to his name on a ballot. So, when these recall ballots come out right now, we're still waiting for the judge's decision. I'll talk a little bit about what happened in hearing this morning. Judge's decision is coming out Monday. Frankly, if the judge follows the law, Newsom blew it.
Mm-hmm.
And, to a lot people like us, to most of the listeners, the general thing is, well, everybody knows Gavin Newsom's a Democrat. But remarkably, no. And there have been several former Democrat political strategists. One person in particular we saw was quoted in an Associated Press article. He said that there are low information voters, not engaged voters, and we know that, all around the state of California who do not know Newsom is Democrat. And if he has the D next to his name on a ballot, so many of the Democrat voters will just vote for him because he's got a D next to his name. But if this goes the way it should go, he won't have a D next to his name on the ballot. There could be, who knows, hundreds of thousands, millions of people out there don't know he's a D, who normally would vote for him just because he's a D. And that is he has further, harmed himself, Newsom, greatly by his complete and total incompetence. So
a major self-inflicted wound.
Major.
You're right. This is such an important point you're making right now, because there are a lot of people who are knee-jerk Democrats. They're Democrats by some default mechanism of the way that people decide what their party's going to be. And so and they're trained, literally trained, to vote D all the way up and down a ticket. Mm-hmm. And if they have to dig in, which they don't, you're right. There's too many low information voters.
Yep.
The system has created them. The system that the Democrats created created them. And now they don't have the scorecard in front of them in which to go, oh gosh, I'm lost now. What do I do?
And nobody knows what you're saying more than these ruthless Dems in power in this state, who have mercilessly taken advantage of the electorate for years. They dropped on us the quote unquote Safe Neighborhoods and Schools Act. We voted it. We wanted
Prop
safe
47.
neighborhoods in schools. It's Prop 47. It's caused the largest explosion in crime we've seen in the history of California. That's
written by
That's Kamala Harris.
George Gascon.
Oh, the bill was written by.
Yes.
The bill was. I'm talking about the ballot and title summary,
Gotcha.
calling it
Yes.
the Safe Neighborhoods
Exactly.
and Schools Act.
That's right.
That lie was from Kamala Harris.
Yes, it was.
And what that bill does is allow people to steal up to $950 now and get a slap on the wrist. That's the crime, the explosion. And then of course they lied when we had the gas tax repeal. They even call it a tax. They said if you don't vote for this, if you approve this gas tax repeal, we're not going to have money to fix our roads. And so they totally trick people into voting to put at least 60 cents a gallon on each one of our gas. Nobody would vote for that.
And,
Right.
you know what amazes me? I got to tell you here, what really amazes me is that Gavin seems the ability to suspend a lot of our rights by executive order. But as he's supposedly trying to get the state to make a comeback, there are two things that stick in my craw. One is that he could have suspended the gas tax increase, which, by the way, out there, fans, included a vehicle tax index next time you go to DMV to register your car that took place on July 3rd. Wait, I'm not done. He could have also chosen to suspend AB 5 instead of forcing all these people to put down their livelihood. He chose not
He
to
didn't
do
have
it.
to sign AB 5. So Mike, let me go back to the point we're talking about. They have taken advantage of the quote unquote low information voter in the state mercilessly for years. And now that might come back to bite Newsom because exactly
Such an important point.
because the word Democrat may not be next to his name on that ballot. And so, today's hearing was really fascinating. It was a Zoom hearing. We were in court up in Sacramento. We all Zoomed into Sacramento. Newsom had his lawyer there. The Secretary of State had her lawyer. I was there representing, the recall and you and Orrin, and then Caitlyn Jenner's team had her lawyer, and we were all up there arguing. And Newsom's lawyer was doing all kinds of contortions to try and get out of this mistake, coming up with a legal term called substantial compliance. Basically saying, well, listen, he was 60 minutes late, but he did submit it, so he substantially complied with the law. He should be allowed.
Does that work when I turn in my tax forms late?
There you go. And that's basically one of the arguments we kept arguing. And when it comes to election deadlines, that is something where substantial compliance should not even be taken into account. And so we kept arguing that, election deadline is an election deadline. Oh, by the way, Judge, if you let this deadline slip, in about 2 weeks, the Secretary of State's office is going to be inundated with all these documents from these proposed governor candidates. And what if they're a day later too?
Yeah, what if they're 60 minutes late, a day late?
And there's a body of law that supports us. And, so if the judge follows the law, and he's a good judge, he's one of the rarer good state court judges in this system. If he follows the law in this would be a major self-inflicted wound and
a major event to go with the theme.
Well, you know what? I want to get back to that in 1 second because I've got somebody on the line here. Being the maitre d', I feel I should let them in. Look, I can't stress when we talk events, and we're going to get back to this one here today. I do want to go on record as saying, though, I'm just wondering, and Eric, you're most qualified to answer this. Do you think Gavin didn't want to register Democrat because he was thinking of possibly going communist?
Well,
I'm just asking.
I don't.
They're kind of synonymous now.
I don't think he's thinking about possibly going there. He is a woke far left socialist, which is code for communist, frankly. And you add to that what I call the Politburo, which is this one-party rule in the state legislature. And the stuff coming out of the state, unfortunately, we're getting closer and closer to that every day of the week, which is one reason we got to take back this state.
Listen, before we roll to break, what I want to tell you, Sky, I want to welcome Sky from Yorba Linda. This Thursday, there is something very important happening. Sky, how are you doing tonight?
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Sky,
Good evening.
Hey, Sky.
tell us about what is happening to keep voters educated. Because again, these events Tell us what you're doing this Thursday, what you're running, where it's happening, and how do people get tickets to it?
Well, I'm excited to share that we are doing a governor's forum in Yorba Linda. We have 9 candidates. They're all coming from California up north. You know, they're going to be able to share with each of the voters personally through a meet and greet. And then we're going to have an actual question and answer. And we really want our voters to be the ones that make the choice. We're the ones that work the recall day after day, week after week. We were out there. And I think the people need to be able to choose a candidate that they want to replace Governor Newsom with.
Absolutely. Sky, we've got a minute before we hit roll around there. What Sky has put together with the Pat Nixon Women's, I'm going to let you do it because I'm just going to butcher it because your website has way too many in there for a simple mind like me. Again, 9 candidates. Just it's a forum, not a debate, correct? Right?
Correct. And we have
how do they get tickets to this important event in Yorba Linda in Orange County? Talk to me.
Okay, it's by the Pat Nixon Republican Women Federated, and you can call me directly at 714-343-1950. Tickets are $25. We have the media covering us. We have Newsmax, Epic Times, NTD. So this is an event where we want people to show up because we want the media to see that Republicans are taking action. And we want to be the ones to make the
Can you
decision.
repeat that number again?
Exactly.
I didn't get it. I didn't get
Don's
it all.
a little slow.
Yeah, my pen is a little slow. I'm fast. The pen's slow.
Go ahead, Scott. Repeat it slowly for our listeners.
714-343-1950.
And I know you're expecting around 300 or 400 people at least, right?
Right now, we have close to 300 people already.
Wow. That's right. It's amazing. And listen, Sky, again, repeat the number. This is an important event that Sky is doing in Yorba Linda. You have to get out to what these 2 gentlemen beside me, I'm sorry, my co-hosts, mislaid it for a second, are saying is that you have to go out and get educated. We at the Recall have broken down the door. One more time, your phone number, Sky.
714-343-1950.
1950.
The Pat Nixon Republican Women Federated event that I'm working with.
Pat Nixon Republican Women's Federated event. I'm going to try to make it. I'm doing 2 events in one night. Sky, God bless you. It's always good to talk to you. We're going to roll, and we're going to have more event talk, including about what happened today soon. So batten down the hatches, stand back, because it's Friday nights at the French Laundry everywhere, streaming, even throughout the United States. Recall, Gavin2020.com.
I had Bandolindo gatherings, just a prime example of a really big hypocrisy.
And whether you like it or not, we're back on another commercial break.
Oh man, that was a great segment about all of Gavin's hypocrisy.
Yeah.
Oh, and finally he's getting caught up in his own hypocrisy. He can't even run from himself.
No.
Very good.
Let me see if I can find a wonderful little announcement that was sent to me yesterday from one of our guests that we had on the town hall meeting. Sonia Green sent me some information on an event that's happening later on this month. So I'll dig that up.
That's dependable traffic on Richard Turnage, JM 790 KABC.
Any other events happening in the state?
Yeah, I was just gonna tell you that the Kern County Recall Gavin 2020 team with Floor Hole as the leader, there was going to be an event tomorrow night because of the 110, 15 plus degree weather forecasted for tomorrow. It's been postponed, but it has been now moved to August 21st. And I think it'll be blessed with Orrin or Mike as one of the speakers, and they're going to have dinner, live music, and they would sure love to have people to join them. So that's August 21st, and you get a hold of Floor in Bakersfield for that.
Excellent. So the Patriots for Liberty, they're having something called United Together, Divided by None. That'll be on Monday, July 26th at 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Location center at Founders Village over in Fountain Valley. So I'll be sharing that on some of the Facebook groups and see if we can take it from there.
Perfect. Perfect. So for all the volunteers
We're back
listening,
on.
oh, there we go.
With head chef Owen Heatley and maitre d' Mike Netter.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to Friday Nights at the French Only. Look, I know we've named our show after kind of a fancy French restaurant, but really what we have here is a potluck of ideas, of California politics. And before we continue, that's by the way what events are. And we have so many events to talk about. I want to go to one more caller here with a potluck of ideas, but the reality is this: you Californians, it's up to you to help get educated, go to these events, meet these politicians, go to what Sky Jones has talked about, get educated, okay?
Can I give you another very important reason why people need to go to events like the one you just talked about?
And what if I said no?
Well, then I would shut up.
Okay, go ahead.
I mean, you're the
I just
host.
wanted to try that out.
You're the maitre d'. You control the horizontal and the vertical tonight. The other really important reason to go to events like this is because you're going to build new connections in the community. You're going to meet people you didn't know. You're going to meet people that are frustrated like you. You're going to meet people that are also they're going to think, I had no idea there are this many people out there that felt like I do. That connective tissue in the community is what is so important and what is missing on our side of the political aisle, because we don't have these precinct operations. We don't have this permanent political infrastructure called the grassroots anymore. And it's events like these where the chemistry begins to happen that forges these relationships. And all of a sudden, people, they get inspired to do things that they never knew that they could do. So go to these events and meet your neighbors and find out who else is in your community that you can begin doing something, because we're in an era that rewards what I call political entrepreneurism.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are going to hatch ideas, and you're going to come up with new angles, new ways that you can build that infrastructure in your communities. So go to these events, meet people, share information, connect with others, and begin to have home meetings. Continue this on into the future, and don't let that momentum stop the night of the event. You guys should all be collecting each other's information so that you can connect with people after the event. And hopefully the folks at the Pat Nixon Republican Women Federated will do that. Obviously, that's a no-brainer. Collect the information, start sending information, but it's these little homebrew groups that are going to make the difference.
And let me tell you two things Gavin Newsom and his campaign. One is independent thinking, and the second one happens to be independent contractors, which is why I'm going to go to Sean from Visalia, because let's talk about AB 5. Sean, how you doing?
That was called a segue.
Pretty good.
That was pretty good, Mike.
Nice job.
So tell us about, for people out there who don't know about AB 5, and by the way, AB means it was the fifth bill of 2020. They start over every year. Assembly bill and SB is Senate bill. So when we talk about AB 5, we're talking about the fifth bill of 2020, because they couldn't wait to get out of the gate even before COVID to do what, Sean? Let's talk to me about it.
Well, the AB 5 was originally set up for like Uber and Lyft drivers. And then it went to the independent contractors for like the nurses, the independent truck drivers and everything. And it got to the point that the bill was passed, and it hurt, to me, it hurt the economy for the state of California, because a lot of the independent contractors are in California. You got the independent contractors, drivers that go into the ports, Long Beach, San Francisco, Oakland, and everything, that are the independent contractors that pull these containers to like Walmart or to DCs to offload load products and everything. We can't do that no more and everything. It was set up for us to be forced into getting our own authority to deal with the truck brokers
Wow.
and everything. And I originally found out I have a family member that her fiance went out, bought his own truck, and was going to do the contract with another company. Couldn't do it, so they had to get his own authority. And my family member contacted Sacramento, found out it wasn't Gavin Newsom that had
Authored
did
the bill. Right.
Okay, it was somebody in his party that proposed the bill because she has a family member that is a truck broker.
Yep, Lorena Gonzalez.
Right, and Sean, let's go a little further than that. This is Eric speaking. Lorena Gonzalez is just a political hack of an assemblywoman out of San Diego, far left. She used to work for the Public Employees Union. They got her into Sacramento, and AB 5, which she proposed, took away the ability, as you well know, to be an independent contractor, freelancer, or a gig worker. And that's because the union wants to turn every single person into a union employee, which will mean millions, tens of millions of dollars in union dues going into these unions. And that's what fueled this sucker. And it killed 900,000 or so independent contractor jobs in this state. So many truckers, for example, all across the board.
Musicians. Sean, where are you located right now? Are you in Visalia? Where you at?
I'm actually right now in Phoenix, Arizona. I just left my terminal, and I'm on my way to Topeka, Kansas to deliver a load.
Well, that's going to kill the next thing I'm going to ask you to do, because tomorrow, to let you know, I'm doing another segue, Sean. And by the way, God bless you for what you do, because if it wasn't for folks like you hauling stuff around,
the shelves would be empty.
Well, I wouldn't be able to eat. I was more concerned with me. Sean, and you're absolutely right.
Something, I want to say something real quick.
Go for it.
When this pandemic had happened and everything, I was at home, and my company, the company I work for is based out of Phoenix, Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
They asked me if I'm willing to stay out a little bit longer to get these stores stocked up. I didn't see my house in Visalia for 2 months.
Wow.
I was up and down California, making sure these stores were stocked up, doing 2 loads for Costco a day.
Now, mind you, that was during the heart of the pandemic, is what you're talking about.
Yes, it was.
When so many people were afraid to leave their house, etc. And it was, thank God, for people like Sean, exactly, keeping this economy and our lives going. So thank you, bro.
Sean,
I appreciate it.
We appreciate it. I want you to call back in, because your story is one of the stories there. I've got a couple things I've got to take care of business. God bless you, man. Travel safe, and we'll see you back in California, right, my brother?
All right. Continue with the recall. I'm all for it.
We're well. I want to throw out a couple of things here. Thanks, Sean. I want to throw out a couple of things so everybody's aware before we hit our next restaurant break, if you will. Lorena Gonzalez. I always get her name wrong. Not that it really matters to me. Just everybody out there, I believe she's married to Nathan Fletcher, who's a supervisor.
Yeah.
My turn, Eric. Hold on. I got to roll, brother. Because Nathan Fletcher called me and Orrin basically every name in the book and got chastised by his own party, and pretty much started a possible recall of him. So
Nathan Fletcher is
another.
I'll just give him a compliment. He's total garbage.
Well,
that's the best thing I can say about him.
No, that's an insult to garbage. How dare you?
It is an insult to garbage.
But listen, when we talk about, because the theme of our show is events, and I don't want to get on a rant in Nathan Fletcher, because him and Lorena Gonzalez, they don't even put their last name the same. They're conspiracy. It comes out of California. Lorena Gonzalez is in charge of the assembly, will not let Kevin Kiley bring bills to floor even than he talks about. Now, if you want to know, I am at an event in Sacramento tomorrow. I'm flying up in the early AM. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. It's at the Capitol. It is going to have an AB5 speaker there. I'm emceeing it. It's going to have a gentleman running for governor there. It's got a large cascade of speakers. If you're in the Sacramento area, please come to our capital, not Gavin's capital. Please come at 10 a.m. We'll be talking more about that. Right now, my engineer's waving at me, and I'm going to wave back at you verbally. But remember, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, okay, at the state capitol. Just show up. It is going to be 1 hour. I know it's going to be hot. I don't care. I know it's going to be maybe a little of a pain to park. Don't care. If you want to do something and come out and take a stand for this state, if I'm willing to get on a plane, if you're out there listening to this, and if 60,000 volunteers are willing to collect 2 million signatures, you have to get going to these events. The music's starting. I'm going to start yelling, but remember, everything that we say tonight, write down and take action on. The time is coming to take our state back. So it is Friday nights at the French Laundry. Listen, recall Gavin2020.com. Call in 1-800-222-5222. It's recall Gavin2020.com because it's our state, California. Take it back.
Oh yeah, it's hot in the kitchen tonight. That's for sure.
Woo, sizzling.
So yeah, so the event at 10 a.m. at the Capitol is going to be on the west steps. So I believe Mike forgot to say that, but that's all right. I'm here to fill in, whether he likes it or not.
Whether you like it or not. Bring your recall flags if you have any and wave them.
Yes, definitely.
Let Gavin see that we're not going away.
Nope. No, this has been such a wonderful grassroots movement. Met so many wonderful people. It's been a pleasure, being a volunteer for recallgavin2020.com.
It has brought together California in a way in my 50 plus years. I've never seen anything bring people together in such a positive way towards making California golden again. I mean, it's unlike a group. We all have the common thread of we want a better future for our kids, for our grandkids. And it's just amazing how many different groups have come together that normally would not, they would just not cross over. But I mean, just as regional manager, I have the blessings of attending so many different groups and meeting so many different people. And we all have one common goal: to get rid of Gavin and make our community safe, make schools where learning is, where they're not learning propaganda, and I'm glad I retired so I can be in this fight.
Oh, and yeah, there's a lot of people that want to be having the kids learn the Constitution. That's something that's been lost in our education system.
I was going to put together a Constitution club for my little elementary school. And then when I had the opportunity to retire, I took it and then joined the recall team. So, but I think there's a definite need to bring the Constitution back in as a club, as an activity that kids can get around, just like a sport or any other kind of an activity. Because back in the day, we used to have government clubs and we used to have debate teams and things like that. We don't debate and we don't talk government anymore. I mean, it's just like you're one side or the other. And I think we lost that art of communication.
Yes. Yes, we have.
Low clouds and fog after midnight. Lows in the mid 60s to low 70s. Tomorrow, low clouds and fog in the morning again.
Well, we definitely miss Oren here. Yeah, but there's Mike.
Triple digits for the
I wonder if Mike's the middle child in his family.
81 degrees in Placentia, 83 in
He might be the youngest. Who knows?
True. Very true.
Tells it like it is weekdays at
But yeah, we couldn't have done all of this without Oren. Oren, if you're out there listening, we totally appreciate you.
Yeah, Oren. Definitely. Well, he's on the front. He's on the battlefront with going to the lawsuit and then having that wonderful rally tomorrow with Kevin Kiley. Oh, look at Don's. He's got his patriotic heart beating.
Yes. Don's wonderful. Really wonderful to work with as well. But I want to give another shout out to another Sue, Susan Hurd, our state executive. She's also helping out in the background, getting the word shared about tonight's show. And as
Way to
well
go,
as
Susan.
lot
It
of
takes
other
a whole team.
I'm usually on the phone with Susan a number of times a week, just working out things, and getting things done for our recall efforts. And it is definitely a joy working with Susan, as well as a lot of other people here on the recall team.
So on other evenings, you guys are listening in on this Zoom meeting. If you'd like to be making phone calls on your i360 app, let me know, or let the team let us know, and we'll get you going, because we need to reach out to the volunteers.
BGB Ranch
to the voters. Sorry about that.
is your 5-star spot for a smorgasbord of information from recallgavin2020.com in a tasty, non-caloric, gluten-free bite. It's Friday night at the French Laundry with Executive Chef Oren Heatley and Maitre d' Mike Netter.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to our virtual cuisine about California politics, the second hour, which I like to call the second seating. For everybody out there, in case you don't know, we brought in Don Dix to help with the cooking tonight. Oren is off. We have our sous chef. And if you've missed the first hour, too bad for you. I always tell you it's 2 hours not worth missing. But let me tell you something. Today was a historic day in politics. And it may not seem like much. And we talked a lot the first hour, and I'm going to hold up on that thought from the sous chef here. But even the Secretary of State in this hearing, I guess it's called, that we talk about. We used to call them trials. Now we call them hearings. No, it's different. I get it, Eric. But I can say that because I don't have a law degree. Said, look, recalls don't take place as often. We're kind of thrown off guard. So again, kudos to the people of California. As I told the Russian reporter tonight, and I say all the time, everyone out there, it's the fourth time, only the fourth time in the entire history of the United States that a recall of a sitting governor has gotten on the ballot. And as you know, coming up September 14th, as I said last week, in the words of the immortal Beetlejuice, it's showtime. It's coming up. And speaking of showtime, we have a big event. We talked about events that Don's going to talk about in his official or unofficial capacity on where, when, what, and how. Because remember, everybody out there, you've got to go to these events. The one in Sacramento tomorrow, 10 a.m. at the Capitol. Be there. It's free. Don's, it's not so much.
Well, it started off as a fun, things have morphed rapidly because of the advance of this date of September 14th. We were sort of using the calculus of a timeline that would take us into the end of October or November. We had an event that was planned. It was a rally. It had a different focus. Now we have a rally to recall Governor Newsom planned for the Inland Empire. And it's at a great location where we can fit 1,000, 1,500 to 2,000 people. It's a 45,000 square foot airplane hangar on the southeast corner of the Chino Airport. And it's the perfect venue for an event like this, because not only do we have a VIP dinner, not only do we have Mike Netter and Oren Heatley doing a live broadcast of the Friday night at the French Laundry.
Thanks for getting the name of our show right.
I'm trying. Not only do we have that, we've got a live broadcast of the Jen and Don show, but we've got a concert that's going to play from 8 to 10 along with governor candidates. So it's a huge event. It's fun. People have been dying to get out. This is the kind of event that you want to go to because it's got it all. Food trucks, governor candidates, a concert you've been doing a great job of playing wonderful 70s rock and roll. This is one of the premier bands in Southern California, daring greatly. They're going to be playing a concert between 8 to 10, interspersed with people like Eric Early there, giving us the lowdown on what's going on. We've got some governor candidates that are lined up. It's going to be huge, as they like to say. this is such an important moment in history. We went to a venue like this because it's so important that we set up events that can bring massive amounts of people together, because this is a massive moment in history that you guys have created. It will be the crime of the century if we do not recall him. It's 67 days from today to September 14th. In 2 weeks, subtract 14 from that, it will be 53 days. That's like a month and a half. Think about it. We only have a month and a half to organize into this. So that's why we're putting this event on. And if you would like to get tickets, we have the place for you to go to get them.
And what is that place, Don?
It's a website. It's bit.ly, bit.ly, Rivco, GOP, rally. Rivco GOP rally.
That's for Riverside County.
Riverside County, GOP, and a rally to recall Minnesota.
And Don, you're the head of the Republican Party out there, right?
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. I told, when they asked
most
me,
of the Republican Party's running away, so Don got left in the room, I think.
was the last person there.
And what I like about the hangar is that Mike can park his Gulfstream right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
you know what? I
absolutely.
got to walk through a Gulfstream because the recall, okay, we have no money, but they did let me walk through it. And I would like to go on record. And I told this to Don, I've told this to Eric, that I went to this. It's beautiful. And it is the first time I have ever been on a Gulfstream legally. And they actually, that I wasn't thrown up.
It was an amazing plane.
It was an amazing plane. And when you go to this hangar, it is an amazing place for a rally. Eric's going to be speaking. Gubernatorial candidates are going to be speaking. And I want you to remember something when you hear the word rally, okay? And the same thing I said about the recall. Get out there, because this is a celebration of the people. It really is. It's a celebration of politics. And I know that's kind of an oxymoron when we say that, right? Because people, politics, it's a grumpy sport. Not the recall exactly. Because, Don, the band you have there, I'm assuming it's not playing classical music, right? It's upbeat stuff.
Oh, no, this is, you will not be able to stay seated for a couple of hours. This is one of the best classic rock bands that I have seen in a long time. I grew up with this music. You were playing the Tin Man earlier. This group you will be transported back to the 70s. They are an amazing band. We're very fortunate to have them. We've got a full stage set up. You're going to be there doing your show. And we're going to be doing man on the street interviews. We've got booths lined up all around the hangar where you can go connect with the school choice people who are up next after September. There's so much that's going to be on. It kind of defies description. This event happens on July the 23rd. If you miss this event, you will not be a happy person.
I want you to envision something. Everybody out there, open your mind. Imagine, this isn't just a little airplane hangar. I'm amazed at what Don's put together. This is a huge airplane hangar. You're going to walk in and see open space. There's going to be seating for about 1,000 people, which is going to be full, surrounded by tables where you could talk to ideas, food trucks, and not only, Don, correct me if I'm wrong,
I will.
Not that I expected you, but you're going to have a huge video wall too. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
So
Two
imagine,
of them. So from wherever you are, you'll be able to see Mike's beautiful made-for-radio face.
That's right. So bring dark glasses.
We can't keep him in the back room on radio while this is going on.
No, we're gonna actually let him into the room. It's gonna be great. And I can't even begin. It would take up the whole show to tell you the full scope of this event. But yes, gubernatorial candidates, lots of fun people, a great band. When was the last time you went to a good rock and roll concert of classic rock? These people will bring the house down. The Beatles? Yeah, back in the 60s. Yeah. Well, they bring all that into July the 23rd at Hangar 4 at 8352 Kimball Avenue. And we'll give you the link throughout the rest of the show.
We'll give you the link, but say that link again before we roll off to the next gig thing here.
Yeah, bit.ly. It's the shortened link, bit.ly. bit.ly /Rivco for Riverside County, GOP for the Grand Old Party rally.
Can they go to the Riverside County GOP site and find it?
They can go to the Riverside County
So that might be a
GOP.com
little
site.
bit easier. Don's tech site apparently is coming out with Jim have. So if you're sitting there writing down on BITY, is it a black slash?
Just
or a
go to
forward slash?
Riverside County
Just go to Riverside County
GOP.com.
GOP, who's God bless us enough to sponsor this event. And remember, huge open air, coolness, plenty of parking, food, a rock band, politics, all around. I want you to envision this is going to be one of the major political events, Southern California. I expect you all there. I'm rolling down there. I want to tell you also, all over the state, Sacramento tomorrow. Sacramento at the Capitol. Get out there. So if you're in Northern California, Southern California, Thursday, go see Sky Jones, and we've got more of us to talk about. But right now, I've got to tell you, in case you aren't aware, are you ready? It's Friday nights at the French Laundry. We, the people, taking back California. In case you've forgotten, it's Recall Gavin. 2020.com.
I had Bandolindo gatherings, just a prime example of a really big hypocrisy.
ABC, dependable traffic right now. West Coast.
Wow, a big thank you to Sky Jones out there. That was really awesome.
In fact, they caught fire.
And Ellen's back. Yes.
Yeah, I'm back. Wow, big happenings down in SoCal.
Yeah, definitely.
We need to all sign up and be a part of that. You know, for all the times we were locked down, here we go.
Yeah.
Now's the time to get out and show everybody our patriotism.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
Also, just getting word of a crash in Long Beach, 405 freeway northbound at Atlantic Avenue, right side.
And let's see, anything else going on the social media or?
Well, I'm wondering if Mike's going to be inviting people to call in. I wonder if are there any call-ins, because that would be good. Maybe people need to be calling in to the radio and announcing some of their events coming up. That would be really helpful.
Yeah. You know, it'd be great to see is truck drivers that have our recall signs on it. That'd be a wonderful.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We need to. Well, and that's what I wanted to mention to those listening is now is a great time to take a banner or some signs out that say September 14th, special election, and get on those overpasses in those corners, busy corners as people are going to work. Or if you're going on vacation, take it to your vacation spot where there are a lot of people going to cooler places and have those signs available.
Speaking about that magical date of September 14th, when are these mail-in ballots going to be sent out?
The mail-in ballots will be leaving the Register of Voter offices on August 16th.
All right.
So middle of August. And so people will be receiving them about the middle of August.
Chef Owen Heatley and Mater D. Mike Nutter.
Welcome back, everybody. We're back at Friday nights at the French Laundry. If you have never been engaged in politics before, and we started talking about this a little bit at the beginning of the show, it really is kind of like a great awakening, and I'm really serious about that. I think when Orrin and I and Robin and Susan and Dan and Christine and people started the recall, one of the reasons I felt it was going to be successful is because we felt the time was right for a great awakening in California. And that's kind of an overused term a bit, but Don, you woke up a little bit earlier than most, like we talked about at the beginning of the show about 10 years ago, of the new awakening. Eric, about 4 years, and for me, a year and a half, as my mysterious guest I'm not supposed to name, who's sitting over the side of the volunteers, about less than a year.
I'm about 5.
Yeah. So the reality is that's not long for people to be so disgruntled. I use the term ticked off a lot, but disgruntled. And this disgruntledness has been building. In fact, it has built so much. I want to go to one of our regular callers next. because I am so tired of hearing, Magdalena, that San Francisco, it's just so liberal. There's no hope for it. They like the needles in the streets. Hell, we've been accustomed to the garbage. It's kind of Art Deco the way it's piled up. And heck, the stealing, isn't that part of the new welfare program? No, a lot of San Franciscans don't think that way, right? Magdalena?
I'm here.
Yes, that was my rant. You're on the air.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, Magdalena.
How are you, dear? I just let you I'm on the air, honey. We're listening at the Lemonade at West Portal. Me, my boyfriend, a friend of mine. We're listening to you guys do your thing.
Oh, that's cool. And it's again.
Oh, yeah, we got y'all. We got all San Francisco could hear us. You know, Lemonade, they want to. So, what could I talk about? The events of this, you know, people here, whatever. So, I've been letting people all about no Friday Night French Laundry. I've been educating people here about what's going on with Gavin, and people are in shock. Okay? People are in shock. He did what? I mean, educating people here. I talk about Madeleine Recall Radio, but I talk about Friday Night French Laundry, too.
Let me ask, have we sent you yet our trifles and door hangers?
No, not yet, my dear. I haven't got no trifle, got no door. I have nothing. Nope.
Okay, so everybody out there, and Magdalena, that's my fault because I'm not the greatest maitre d'. That's why I only do this one night a week. So
you're fine, Mike. I love you.
Later on, because I don't want you to give it on the air, I want you to email your address. And for everybody out there, when we talk about how to spread a word about this election coming up, remember, we will send you trifolds. We will send you door hangers. We'll also send remittance envelopes, because we need to gather a little bread, if you will, to keep this going. And we'll also send yard signs in your area, because we have to remind everybody, Magdalena, just like you're doing what? When's the election?
September 14th.
And what's going to happen, Magdalena, on September 14th?
Gavin's going to get recalled. He's going to go bye-bye. Hey, hey, hey. Goodbye. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na. Hey, hey, hey. Goodbye.
Well, thank you so much for everything you're doing for us. Remember, tell them one more time where they can find all the recorded
Magdalena
shows.
Recall Radio. Magdalena Recall Radio. Just look it up and I'm there.
You got it. Post all our show. Thank you very much. We appreciate you more than you know. Again, San Francisco is not quite a lost cause. Just there's some people that are lost in San Francisco. Thank you so much. Remember, if you have an event you want to talk about in the last 40 minutes of our show, because we have lots to cover, call in at 1-800-222-5222. And if you have an issue that you want to bring up, call us as it relates to an event that we're doing soon at 1-800-222-5222. We've got a lot to cover. And you have to understand, Eric, this is almost embarrassing. I think I'm spending the entire month of July with you just about.
Well, thankfully I get to spend a lot of time with my wife too. Otherwise it wouldn't work. But yeah, you and I are traveling up and down the state, speaking in different parts of the state. You know about a campaign I'm involved in, but we can't talk about it on this show for various, whatever it is, legal reasons. But it's growing, and I will be speaking at that incredible event that Don was telling us about, and I can't wait.
And remember,
I love speaking to patriots. I told you that, Mike.
And by the way, Eric is a heck of a public speaker and hits it between the eyes. And although we legally can't say, if you would happen to Google Eric Early, and I don't think you need me to spell his name out there, and see where he happens to be, I kind of tag along as a proponent of the recall, if you will, to spread the word about the recall. Because to be honest, I want to say this again, the recall is cheap and has no money. Okay? So, because we're cheap and have no money, we tag along where we can to talk about the recall. It's important to note there are events everywhere. Okay, now,
let me say this, because, a lot of people in this day and age where one of the tactics of the mainstream media is to make us believe the folks that are, are more conservative thinking, they're making us believe that we're just in this tiny little minority and the world is being taken over by these woke crazies out there. And when we go on the road, we speak all over this state And there is no doubt in my mind, the vast majority of Americans, the vast majority of Californians are not these woke crazies. They're people who, like us, we support law enforcement. We love freedom. We love liberty. We love our country. That's the vast majority of Americans. But when you look at what comes through this little tube called of information that gets fed to all of us through the mainstream media and the social media, so many people are losing track of that. Don't lose track of that, folks. We talk to people all over the place. And, and our time is coming. We're not going to lose this country or this state to this just sick brand of socialist communist creature that's coming out of the woodwork every single place.
This is such an important point because the problem that we have is not that there aren't enough of us. It's that we're not properly organized. This is what the left has done for decades. They have out-organized us. How do they control Chicago? They have a tightly controlled precinct operation that controls that entire city. Every precinct is controlled by the Democrat Party. Who got elected in 2008? It was the community organizer. He was a community organizer before he was a politician. How did they get control of all of these bureaucracies, academia, entertainment? They
control the information that comes to us, Don. Listen,
because they're organized,
and they're not only organized; they're merciless, and they're so much. Well, I could go on and on about that. I mean, for example, one of my great clients is One American News Network, and the reason they are not seen further and wider around the country is because these carriers out there refuse to carry One American News Network, won't let them on.
Like a Spectrum or a
Comcast.
Or Comcast.
Comcast won't let them on. And in other words, these controllers of the mainstream media are controlling what we see and hear, and they will not let us see a different point of view. They won't even let the dialogue start.
Kind of the same way Facebook controls what gets onto Facebook.
Yes, and Facebook is really an interesting thing. When I first ran for public office, back when I ran against Becerra for Attorney General the first time, Facebook, we forget. Facebook back then for conservatives was the way to get around the control of the mainstream media. We candidates and other conservatives were able to get around so much of it through Facebook. And then, President Trump won the election and Facebook just did a complete about face. And now they are just part of the mainstream media.
Listen, getting organized, precinct walking like Don's doing district. A couple things out here I want to say again. This is very important. Stop what you're doing. Focus on the show. Email us at info@recallgavin2020.com. Get some door hangers. We're not charging for them, folks. We're shipping them out, and we'll ship you some remittance envelopes with them. Get them distributed. Get some trifolds. You can download them from our website. Distribute them. We talked about education earlier. The biggest fear that the Democrats have, that Newsom's camping on, I want to be fair, because it's not Democrats, it's like extreme beyond it. The biggest fear they have is that you'll be educated. And I really don't have a big fear in this, but reality is this. This has been said by a great reporter I talked to this week. We may talk about it next show if we run out of time. But the reality is this, that if people that are fired up will come out to vote, the people that don't care won't come out to vote. And the fired up people are going to vote yes. I want to, in the little time we have left before we roll the next break, talk to Marshall from Hollywood. We got 2 minutes left. Marshall, you want to know how to get door hangers, right?
Yes, I do. And I was also going to ask you, what are you doing for Bastille Day?
That's a good question. Storming the castle.
Storming the castle, man. I love it, brother.
Cooking up some French food.
Can I come with
at the
you?
French Laundry?
Yes, you can. You're in Hollywood. Where in Hollywood? I want to say where specifically are you? But you gotta come, my friend, to some of our events. If you can make it to Don's, or we have them throughout the Southland. And if you email us, we will send. Just give us your address. We will ship door hangers right to your house, trifolds right to your house. My friend, if you're in Hollywood, we'll even ship you enough yard signs to cover that bloody Hollywood sign.
Well, that
How's
would be
that
great.
sound?
There's a photo op waiting to happen.
That
Yeah.
sounds great. I'm known for doing outlandish kind of funny stuff. So that's cool.
Put a recall Newsom banner across the Hollywood sign and take a picture of it. That
Just,
is,
you know, I'm right around the corner from the Pantages Theater right now, so I think somebody should get the marquee, maybe to put it up on the marquee.
Ooh, I like the way you think.
Zabos. Well, that's something we got to put up
Yeah,
to Zabos.
Sable's actually for the. It's amazing the number of people does. My friend, I got to tell you something. Please email us. I'm breaking down to a minute here. Remember,
Okay.
you're not supposed to yell anything bad in the theater. You know, like fire or anything.
I know.
right?
Of
Okay,
course not.
but when the theater goes dark and it goes quiet silence, if you started to whisper and grew to a chant, "Recall Gavin," I bet that would be legal.
Okay, and I will look for your email online somewhere and find it and email you my contact information.
Look
okay?
forward to it, my friend. Have a great time, whatever you're doing tonight, because soon the state will be back. Listen, we've got a roll. Stacy from Riverside, you're going to be served up next right after the break, because I do want to talk to you about AB5. Remember, if you get nothing else tonight out of this show, besides the fact I sound pretty good, get this out of it. Trifolds, events. We have to do something. Everybody out there, remember, it's Friday Nights at the French Laundry, streaming all over America, even the truckers. Recall Gavin2020.com. Take your state back.
We are the leaders. Voters can't be trusted to be indoor eaters. They are more contagious after all. They're mouth breathers.
So another way to get a hold of some of the things that we have, folks, is go to recallgavin2020.com and let's see, look up for your county info and contact your local county coordinator to find out where and how to get some recall. Get it out there, get the yard signs, get the flags, and let's get the word out. We're here.
And for the different zone areas, a large merchandise order is going to be coming in the next week or so. So if you haven't gotten your yard sign yet, stay tuned. Like what Tim said, contact your county coordinator and they will find out when the signs are going to come in, because we need to get the word out now. We're looking at 38 days before the ballots are mailed out. So we got to get the word out now. And if you have a flag, you want to go out into an overpass and make your own homemade sign and let people know that the election is September 14th, do it. I'm going to start doing it at the local overpasses by my house when it's not 110.
Well, I have a homemade sign back here saying California, Vic Newsom.
Perfect. You don't need to organize a big event. You just need to get a few friends out and let them just hang out. You just hang out on the overpass for a little bit. I think it's really valuable to go during like high peak traffic time so that you can get a lot of attention as people are driving by and they can see it on their way home or on their way to work. It's a cheap man's way of having free advertising.
Yeah. So there's a question in our chat. Can people print up? Yes, you can. So go to recallgavin2020.com and I'm trying to find it right now. Give me just a moment. Circle. You're going to go to Take Action and then download DIY graphics. And those are our official graphics for Recall Gavin 2020. So yes, you can print up your own.
And you can make your own.
So that's a good question. Is it legal to put on cars in parking lots? That's a tricky question there. So if it's on a, to my knowledge, if it's on, let's see here, government-owned property, it's not legal. I believe anything else is a go. Oh yeah, don't forget to set your printer properly, especially for the brochures. And there's actually simple instructions on how to do that if your printer can handle double-sided printing. Thanks, David.
And Tim is a printing expert.
Yeah, I've printed up like tens of thousands of material for recall.
Ask how many printers he's burned through since we started the campaign.
One printer burnt out.
Oh, well, okay.
Which I'm glad for that, but I'll be tonight and tomorrow because I have another batch being sent out in central Santa Clara County.
Nice, nice. Well, we're getting close to the end of the show, so people, you need to call in if you want to share your events.
Yes, at 1-800-222-5222. Call in and let us know what you're doing. All right, we're back on.
It's Friday night at the French Laundry. On the menu tonight, a better California with executive chef Orrin Heatley and maitre d' Mike Netter.
Well, welcome back to Friday Nights at the French Laundry. Our main cook, Orrin Heatley, is bride tonight. No, actually isn't, but I just wanted to say that.
We miss you, Orrin.
We miss you, Orrin, buddy. We know you'll be back next week. Listen, we've got Don Dix and Eric Early in the studio tonight. We've had good callers, but tonight's theme is this. When we were doing the recall, I think one of the reasons we were successful is we called for specific action. Right? Got it? Get out there, get signatures. Now, regardless of what anybody says, California, all puns intended on our show, was hungry for this. People willingly signed. I used to make jokes when we started the recall. People come up, they say, give me a few reasons, talk to you for 10 minutes. Then as time went on, literally even before the extension, people come up and they go, we've got Mike Netter, one of the main proponents. People go, I don't care. They yanked the pen. They wouldn't have time to tell them anything. Just yanked the pen in the hand and signed it. I don't even think we got to everybody. Specific action. People were anxious to do something. And now we've got some specific actions for you again. Listen up, California. 3 actions, actually. So listen up, America. 1, everybody out there, remember, we know donations. This platform is the voice of the people. RecallGavin2020.com. If you can spare any money, even if you can't, give some to us. Whatever you give goes directly to the people's cause, not to the infrastructure, which are consultants and parties, etc. Next action item. You've got to go to our website. You've got to make sure that you do whatever you can to spread the word. Look, as they used to say on TV late night, I'm giving it away. Understand? We are sending you trifolds. We will send you door hangers. We will send you data. We will send you yard signs. We need to spread the word that comes September 14th, there is an election. And the third action item you need to get out of tonight's show, there's lots of people meeting to talk about this. And listen, even though we have the head of the Riverside Republican Party here, I don't care if you're Democrat. I don't care. Don, can I ask you a question on your event on the 23rd?
Sure.
Do people have to show their card at the door that they're Republican to get in?
No.
Okay.
No. If you want to be a part of making history, you don't have to be a Republican to make history.
So all these events we're talking about, because I know Gavin is, and actually back to part of our original show, and now I'm thinking about it, it's kind of funny. It's like, wow, this is started by angry Republicans. Hey, Gavin, you forgot to mark you're a Democrat, but I don't want to get started on that again.
Well, let's just, Mike, you know better than anybody in this room that approximately 600,000 of those 2 million or so signatures were not Republican.
Correct.
So we don't have a gripe with how somebody is registered to vote out there. We have a gripe with the elected officials who have left the Democrats completely in the dust and are completely, destroying this state. Another thing I want to say, because we can't lose sight of this, the talk of the state right now, and in large portion of the country politically, is about what's going on in California here with the recall. Certainly the talk politically in political circles in the state, it's all about the recall. And it all comes down to this small handful of people, these disruptors who had the belief and the wherewithal and the dream and to do this. And so I'm so honored, again, to be on this show with, I got Netter sitting next to me here. Every time he goes to a break, I feel the saliva all over my face.
No, I feel the energy.
And we miss Oren tonight. And then there's Robin and Sue and Dan, and it just exploded out of this little small tight-knit group of really disruptors, and it has taken over the country and certainly taken over the state. And it's everything we talk about politically in the state right now goes right back to you guys. And then you of course have thousands of volunteers, the blood, sweat, and tears of people around the state. We have one of the great volunteers sitting with us in the studio. What you all did over the past year or so is just incredible. And I'm sure that when this sucker got scheduled, the recall election, it makes people like us who are not part of the political, professional, whatever that's, stolen our government from us, believe we've got hope again. We can get this sucker back. We could get our government back. This is the We the People moment and the We the People movement that this state has needed for decades. And so thank you, man. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Oren. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, all your incredible volunteers. And good things are coming.
I want to give an extra shout out too. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, everybody. But it's special tonight.
I'm just glad to be the attorney for Recall Gavin. I'm so
Holy
proud.
cow, I had no idea that
we have
gallery of people was behind us
here tonight, right?
Look at all those people up there.
This is a grassroots
That's
movement.
Sound like on the 23rd.
The grassroots are taking back this state.
This is great.
Listen, I want to give an extra shout out tonight. Remember, and this is very important what I'm going to say next. You not only can watch this on Facebook and we played in YouTube. Ellen, thank you for leading Bakersfield and that whole area there. Thank you, Tim, for all that you do all the time. Thank you, unnamed volunteer who doesn't want her name in there, sitting in the studio tonight with us. But also, I want to say something else. When I say Facebook, and I see there's a Santa Clarita event, how many events can we talk about? There's a major event again on the 26th in Huntington Beach. Let me tell you something. When we say go to recallgavin2020.com, again, critical what I'm saying, when we talk about events, we have a tab called Take Action. Now, many of you before were rushing to the front page, and you still do today, to see what the latest news of the day is. But when you go to those Facebook groups, and we have over 58 Facebook groups, one for each county. There are events all the time. I don't have time to literally tell you about them. So if you want to know about, as I see David talking on the chat feed here that's beside me, about the one in Santa Clarita taking place on the 14th, going down the freeway, seeing the Big Banner overpass, not a problem. If you want to know about something going on in Yuba County, Yuba, I don't forget you. Placer County, I don't forget you. All the 5 counties at the Sacramento event tomorrow. Like that plug, I'm going to be speaking. I'm going to be emceeing. If you're up in one of those 5 counties,
Monday, Mike.
We're going to be back in Stanislaus Monday. I'm sure just move up there. I'm traveling back and forth. I have to get my frequent Southwest miles in, if there was such a thing. But anyway, here's the thing. Go to those county tabs and find out. We started a very special Facebook group this week that I technically can't talk about because it's sponsored by our coalition, recallgavin2020.com, like the plug. But before I get too carried away, Stacy from Riverside, you've been banging to get a table for a bit. And one of the things that really just ticked me off, people asked why they started, was AB5, and you want to talk about that.
Yeah. Well, let me just go back just a little bit. Me and my husband had a trucking company. AB 32 put us out of business. Okay.
Wow.
My husband was able to find it, a driving job. We sold our equipment, all that good stuff. So then, I shattered my knee, so I wasn't able to, nobody would hire me. I put hundreds of applications and nobody would hire me. So I said, okay, fine. All this equipment that California don't want on their roads, I don't want to see it scrapped. So I decided to start selling trucks and semi-trailers. So I did that. I did that for like 3 years. And then January 1st, AB5 put me out of business.
Unreal.
I mean, nobody gets put out of business twice in a lifetime by a state that they were born and raised in.
Yeah, isn't that ridiculous, Stacey? And they
More than
forget-
ridiculous, Mike. We have a state, they hate the entrepreneurial spirit. They hate people like Stacey. They hate people that start small businesses. And I mean, some people say they don't hate it. They come up with other words for it. This is yet another reason we got to get back to the state for people like Stacey and Sean who called before.
Yeah, but the thing is, this isn't that they hate small business. They want everybody living off the government.
Yep.
And
it's about power and control.
Well, yeah. And I mean, AB 32, I fought that for 7 years.
Wow.
And I mean, when AB 5 put me out of business, I just said, you know what? What's the point?
Stacey, let me ask you a question.
What is the point?
I really hope we're honored with your presence on the 23rd in Riverside.
I did try to find it on the website.
It's being put up right. It's hang in there. It's being put up right now as we speak.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna bring some people with me.
God bless you, and for people that move stuff around, and you've inspired me. I think we're going to do a whole show on truckers and how it's hurt them, because the reality is, as typical as we roll to our last segment here, I want to stress again, what's typical is that they don't think about it. Lorena Lawaka Gonzalez and her damn husband, Nathan Fletcher, they don't think things through. That's the problem. And people like you have been hurt by AB 30.
They're arrogant. They know better, they believe.
Oh, because they don't have to worry. They are the rich. Stacey, thank you very much. I look so forward to seeing you on the 23rd. Also, go to our site. Please give us your address and help us spread the word. Can you promise me to do that?
I already did that.
Well, you beat me to the punch.
I'm waiting for my sign.
All right. I like to hear that.
The business at the corner wants them, and everybody else see them. I mean, thousands of cars a day go by.
God bless you. I'm going to wrap it up now for our last segment. Thank you so much for calling. Everybody out there, these are the stories that we're fighting for. This is why every Friday night, not Tuesday night, every Friday night we do Friday nights at the French Laundry, because we call Gavin 2020.com are the voice of the people.
Mr. Mayor, how would you prefer your foie gras donated? Sir, we saw you at a party. It wasn't me.
That's such a fun song.
Yes.
CDC dependable traffic right now, 101 freeway south.
Let's turn that down.
Well, there's a big overpass rally event in Santa Clara County, which I'm sure you know about, Tim, tomorrow from 4 to 7.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I can send that to you and they can get posted out. I was emailed because I'm in an email group list, but it's got 6 different overpasses in Santa Clara. We'll have people gathering with Recall and American flags.
Oh, yes.
From 4 to 7 p.m., like Highway 17 and Bear Creek exit.
Yes.
Grand Century Mall.
I'm familiar, yes.
Highway 101 and Capitol Expressway exit. So check that out. If you're in Santa Clara, if you're not going to drive over to the Capitol for the Capitol, or you're not anywhere near the Capitol, then I would recommend, hey, that would be a nice place to go fly a flag and let people know that Recall is well on its way to getting rid of Gavin.
So election integrity, people quite often ask about that. And tomorrow, last moment announcement here. I just got word earlier that I'm going to be doing a show, and it's going to cover election integrity. So at the beginning of the show is the show is out of Santa Cruz, California, on KSCO 1080 AM, the Tom Quinn Show, and the first part of the show is going to have our lead proponent, yours truly, Orrin Heatley, and then we're going to have another guest out of Monterey County, and then Linda Payne is going to be on. And she is the founder of the Election Integrity Project. And that's EIP-CA.com. Get involved with the election integrity, and you will learn a lot.
poll watchers are needed for the special election coming up. So contact her, go to her website now so that you can get your training.
Yes.
All right, enjoy the end of the show, people. Awesome, good job.
Welcome back, everybody, to our final sitting of the night here, Friday nights at the French Laundry. There is so much going on up and down California and so much to talk about. The reality is this: we, the people, have made a stand. And you know what? I'm pleased and proud to have been on this journey just to get on the ballot, and I feel we're going to win. But the next caller, Philip from Rancho Cucamonga, who's going to be our last caller of the night, to hear for the recall, but what happens if he wins? What do you think?
I just want to play devil's advocate. We didn't think there was 80 million special needs Americans that voted for Biden. What are they to do? God forbid, sorry to say that, but what happens if this guy prevails? I mean, what do we do?
Well, let me first off say that we have made something major by getting this on the ballot to begin with. We're expecting to win this, and Philip, you have a good point. But for everybody out there, we cannot keep this schmuck, commie, Newsom, whatever name you want to use, as Gavinus, from going to the White House. And frankly, the chances, just the fact the recall's on the ballot, I don't give a damn what the press says, in the biggest state is going to hurt him. But here's what we are going to do. And I'm glad you're asking this question, Philip. Do you mind me just answering here? Okay.
No, please.
Okay. Recalling the governor is what Orrin and I decided needed to be done immediately, because it was a thing where we could strike back. Here's the reality of the situation. I could tell you right now what I'm personally going to do after the recall, and we're going to win this, but even when we do, I'm going to fight to get the state a better attorney general, because that to me is a real important position, because nobody pays attention to it a lot of the time, except I'm going to fight to get us a controller that watches the money. I want everybody out there to understand, when we win this, and even if by an outside chance we don't, Philip, I'm not moving from California, brother. How about you?
Born and raised, sir. I'm not going anywhere.
All right.
Amen.
Are you standing with me then? Am I going to see you on the 23rd? I see you in Rancho Cucamonga.
You know what? If you guys give me that information, I will be there, boots on, ready to do whatever needs to be done.
You can go to our website right now. I know earlier we had a call that was having difficulty finding it. It's riversidecounty.gop.com, riversidecounty.gop.com. Just click on the events tab right at the top.
Perfect. Hey, when I get home, I'm definitely going to do it, and I will see you guys. Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay,
awesome, Philip.
We're rolling down to the end of our final seating. Everything must come to a slight close, including this show. And facetiously, I was asked on the feed again, could we do this show on Tuesday night? It'd be really hard to call it Friday nights at the French Laundry on Tuesday. Somebody might catch on. But regardless of the day of the week, there are events literally going on every day for the next 2 months. Now, as I roll down here to the end, and because I get the last word, being the maitre d' who sees you out the door, I'm going to start with the kitchen. And Don, in 2 minutes, tell us what you want to tell us about what you're doing in Riverside and how people can do something.
The most important thing people can do is, if you're in Riverside County, is get connected to our Neighbor to Neighbor program. We are teaching people how to take political control of their neighborhoods. That's one of the most important things we can do, is reestablish that connective tissue in our neighborhoods and build a permanent political infrastructure throughout every county. In Riverside County, it's real simple. You just go to riversidecounty.gop.com and you will get plugged into the Neighbor to Neighbor program, number one. And then, of course, we got this event coming up on July the 23rd, the Recall Newsom Rally. It is going to blow you away. This is the conservative event that you have been waiting for, that you've been dreaming about. We are going to deliver one of the most, I think, one of the most transitional events in the Inland Empire on July the 23rd. Do not miss it. You want to be there. You need to be there. We need you there. And the most important thing, you mentioned it a moment ago, you got to give money to the folks that have put this recall on the map, because the public employees, teachers unions, SEIU, other unions, they're pumping $100 a month into their political action. There's millions of dollars every day that are going to work against our values. What we need to do is be more prepared to step up and give our money, just like they are, to forming a citizens union. What you have started is tantamount to beginning a citizens union, giving us the opportunity to organize, giving us a flag at the front of the troops to recall Newsom. So go to recallgavin2020.com, give them money, because they've not only have they earned it, but they need it to continue the work through the next 67 days. So when we hit September 14th and everybody votes, when you wake up September 15th, you wake up to a new governor.
Thank you so much. Eric, the new kid ate into your time. You got a minute here. I'm so sorry.
Come on, man. The new kids, they're only radio pro in a room here. Listen, it's Friday night. There's people, great Americans, listening to this show all around our state. You're in your cars right now. You're in your homes, some of you in front of your computers. And this show has become really like the way Voice of America used to be, when it would communicate with people, freedom lovers who are hiding in the Soviet Union. And this show is communicating to all you great freedom and liberty lovers who are now, largely have to be in hiding with these crazies taking over. And so we're talking to you, and, this movement has given hope to all of us, to all of you. Yep. And all I will always say is stay strong and stay courageous, because we're going to get back this state, and we will never let what we see coming out of the cracks take this country. Never going to happen. So we'll talk to you guys again next time I'm on. Thanks again for having me, Mike.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Pleasure to be with you.
It's a pleasure to have you gentlemen here. Listen, everybody out there, you want to find more sites where Eric's at and I'm talking, just Google Eric Early. You'll figure it out when it comes up. I'm going to be with him a lot. There's reasons we don't talk about it. If you want to find out more about people taking back Riverside, it's not that hard to do. When you're sitting, use your cell phone if you have to. Google your local whatever. And this isn't about the GOP again. Okay? But I'm asking everybody out there, I'm going to end this show a little bit with SAS. SAS, not SOS. SAS. I want you to stand, act, and shout. Meaning whatever you're doing on any given day, I want you to stand up and go to one of these events. We've talked just about a few of them tonight. I want you to stand tomorrow if you're within 2 hours of Sacramento and get your posterior to the Capitol. Get out there. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. Drive up there. Go see what Newsom has done to Sacramento if you haven't been there in a while. And if you're there, you got no excuse for not coming over. I'm not getting up at 4 in the morning and flying to the damn Capitol if you can't get over about an hour. We can do this. I'm not going to put my heart and soul, like all of us have, into going to these events like we heard Sky Jones talk about next Thursday, to the one on the 23rd, to Huntington Beach on the 26th. If we're doing it, if we, the volunteers, could do it, if you're out there, you can do it.
Mike and I will be in Stanislaus on Monday evening, and I don't have the address in front of me, but we'll be speaking to Central Committee.
You can find it. I got 2 minutes to go. I got a lot to say. All right.
Mike.
Stand, act, shout. And you say, well, I helped. I signed it. I listened to Netta ramble on. I know. No. You need to tell people. The trifold. You got to go to our website. You've got to help these people. Even if you've been helping already, get other people. Go out there and recruit. This, my friends, is a religion. This is what we need to do to take California back. And I don't care what side of the aisle you're sitting on, Democrat, Republican, whatever. This is our chance to take back California, and we're open up the Churchill politics to anybody that wants to come in. Tomorrow, Sacramento, the 23rd in Riverside, this week in Yorba Linda, 26th in Huntington. It goes on and on and on and on. Everybody out there, it's time. I don't care who you are. I don't care what party you belong to. If you're a Californian, it's time you stood up, acted, and shouted, I'm a Californian and it's my damn state. And if you don't think it's your damn state, then you can move, because I don't think the people are going to. Friday nights at the French Laundry. Remember, we are the voice of the people. We are Californians. God bless you. Get out there and do something about it this week.
How any violation might kill a grandma. Why you do what you want, even pardon in laws. Mr. Mayor, how would you prefer your foie gras? Donated? Sir, we saw you at a party.
It wasn't me.
Eating at the French Laundry.
It wasn't me.
You even had the clam chowder.
It wasn't me.
Sir, we got you on camera.
It wasn't me.
You said we can't be super spreading.
It wasn't me.
This show is sponsored by the official Recall Committee California Patriot Coalition. Recall Governor Newsom 2020, number 1424018. Committee major funding from others include Rescue California, Recall Gavin Newsom, Proud 39 LLC, BGB Ranch.
And Mike thinks he has the last word.
He only thinks that because Oren's not on.
Whether he likes it or not.
Whether you like it or not.
So yeah, so we're going to be having a special show. So I'll be posting on our Facebook groups the information for KSCO 1080 AM out of Santa Cruz. Tune in between 12 p.m. noon and 1 p.m. So thank you very much, Ellen. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to having you again next Friday.
Thank you. Have a great week, everybody.
Take care. Have a great weekend, and get out there to those rallies.
Yay.
Have a good night, all.